Hello, I'm going to be talking about two different books with you all today. The first book is called I Am Human. I Am Human is a book written by Susan Verde. You see, it's a book about empathy. It's a book that is designed for younger children, I would say. It was published in 2018, and I'm going to read a short portion of it to start with today. It says, I am human. But being human means I am not perfect. I make mistakes. I can hurt others with my words, my actions, and my silence. I can be hurt too. I can be fearful of things I don't yet understand and timid to try something new. I have a heavy heart when I feel sadness. I am human. But then I remind myself, because I am human, I can make choices. So, sorry, I dropped paper. Whoops. Sorry about that. Like I mentioned, it's a book that's more designed for younger kids, probably 10 and under, I would say. It's a book that me and my wife picked out, actually, for our little one, who's only 9 months old. We read it to her quite often, but no, she won't understand it until later in life. But it's a book that talks about what we as humans do, how we explore, how we learn, how we make mistakes, how we hurt, and so most importantly, though, that we have each other, that we have our family, our friends, and people that we're connected to. Each one of us are unique, but we have people that we can connect to. And so kind of with that in our mind, the benefits that I see from this book, the book I Am Human, is that can help someone who's feeling alone. That you can also work with a bully, somebody who's been bullying. I think that portion that I read, you can see that and how that would be a benefit. Working with somebody who is bullying, but also you can work with somebody who has been bullied. Teaching resiliency, talking about choice making, and that kind of thing. I went to a conference and for the Missouri School Counselor Association called, basically victim proofing, and how, teaching resiliency and things along those lines. I think this book has some of those characteristics to help with that. And I think even with somebody, an elementary student who's struggling with purpose, just talk about this book and how there's all these things about exploration and how they can do these things and learn all of these things, and how none of us have really figured it all out. I'm 30 and definitely not have it all figured out yet, but somebody struggling with purpose would be another benefit. I think incorporating this into the guidance curriculum or the school counseling curriculum, there's a variety of ways you can do it. I think this could be something that you teach as character education. As the title says, it's a book about empathy in many ways. But throughout there, I think there's 3 or 4 main trends which I have on the therapeutic benefit analysis worksheet that you could break this book down and go into like 3 or 4 lessons in the classroom just based off this book, with an overall classroom, but somewhere along the lines of kindergarten through 2nd grade. I also feel like it's something that would be beneficial in individual counseling, that just in individual counseling, you can go through a kid, and like I said, it could be in 1 session, it could be in 3 or 4, and I think you just focus on the portion of it that you feel like the student really needs, and I think there are a lot of benefits to this book that I read. I Am Human, again, by Susan Verde. It's a new book, just came out in 2018. My other book that I chose for this project was The D Word, meaning divorce. This is more of a well-known book. The D Word is by Julia Cook, who's well-known in the counseling circles. The drawings in this book are by Philip Rogers. This is a book that was published in 2011. This book, again, is more designed towards elementary students, but I'm going to read a portion of it. The main character's name is Otis, and so Otis is talking to his grandma. Otis, my grandma said, this divorce is not your fault, and you don't have to deal with it all by yourself. I can help you. There are 3 things about divorce that you need to know. You didn't cause it. You can't control it, so you're going to have to learn to cope with it. Even if you had been nicer to your brothers. Even if you had studied hard for every single spelling test. Even if you hadn't put gum into Matilda Bruno's hair. Even if you had taken a bath every single time your mom told you to, your parents would still be going through a divorce. And so you see some of the main characters. Otis is the blonde boy And this is some of the students, things along those lines in this. And like you can see in the book, the main theme of this book is obviously about a divorce. But even more than that, it's about Otis, the young upper elementary boy, who's kind of wrestling with some things about the divorce. He's blaming himself for several of the things of, well, if I would have done this differently, it would be, my parents would have been getting divorced. If I had done these things, and that's what you see on the page that I just read. You know, he talks to his grandma about it, and you see, as you see in the passage there, his grandma tells him he couldn't have done anything to change it. But this is something that I feel like a lot of kids can relate to. When their parents are going through a divorce, they blame themselves. And they say, well, if I could have done this differently. And that's what this book really looks at. And I feel like this book can be used with anybody who's, especially in elementary students who are going through a divorce. I think maybe 5th and 6th graders who in some schools are in the middle school, this is still something that you could use with them because it's something that's, I think, a big issue today. I mean, you know, they say anywhere from 40 to 50% of all marriages end in a divorce. And so with that, you know, being the case, it's going to be something that students bring into our schools oftentimes. And, you know, if a student especially is blaming themselves, this is a great book to use to help them hopefully realize that, no, it's not something that they could have changed. The people that you can use this with, or how we would use this in a school counseling setting, is, you know, I think you can use it in 2 different settings. You could use it in a small group. I think at times that a small group, especially with a topic like divorce, would be extremely beneficial to our kids, realizing that they're going through this not, you know, alone. Because sometimes I feel like when there are family things going on, that we feel like we're all alone when this is happening. And so working with the kids, making sure that they know that, you know, I'm not alone through this, can help them in this process. I think it also is one, again, that can be used in individual counseling, and in the individual counseling setting, that you can still work with the kid and really push through some of the main issues that they're going through. As I was looking at the benefit analysis, there wasn't as much diversity shown in the D-Word book, but it still connected a lot of the books. I feel like it still hit a lot of things that you'd want to talk to a kid about, especially if they're going through this specific topic of divorce, whereas the I Am Human book is just more for general things, helping teach them character education, helping kids that are struggling in a specific issue. And so, thank you.